anniversary of the U.S. attack on Iraq.
Absolutely. And there are extraordinary, dangerous parallels here, both to the 2003 invasion of Iraq 8 years ago, also to the 1991 U.S. war against Iraq, where you have more of a parallel of the U.S. Bribing and threatening and punishing other countries to force a vote in the UN Security Council to bring a veneer of legality, even though there was no real legitimacy, just as they did this time. You had, in this case, a vote of 10 in favor and 5 abstentions. No one voted against. And one of the big issues, of course, is why Russia and China, who both were against this resolution, did not vote against it, which would have stopped it, would have vetoed it. Why South Africa voted for it, why Brazil, Germany, and India abstained rather than voting against. There are some very serious questions here about what kind of pressure might have been brought to bear on those governments to arrange that kind of a vote.
Phyllis, talk about the role of the Arab League and the African Union.
Both of them played a very key role in making this happen. This was an interesting situation, Amy, where, unlike 1991, the U.S. was not initially in favor of establishing a UN-based no-fly zone over Libya. There was a fear among some, particularly in the military in the U.S., that a no-fly zone alone wouldn't be enough, that they wouldn't be able to do their job. And for some, they said, well, we shouldn't endorse it. The position of Hillary Clinton, the U.S. ambassador to the UN, Susan Rice, Samantha Powers, others in and around the State Department said, well, in that case, let's get a different resolution. Let's get a resolution that goes way beyond a no-fly zone. And to do that, we can only do it with legitimacy, according to President Obama's own view, if we have the Arab League and African support. As a result, they went to the Arab League, were able to get the Arab League to support a rather vague resolution before the UN voted that said there should be a no-fly zone. It was very cautious, and it made a lot of caveats about how there should be no foreign troops on the ground, no real foreign intervention, but it did support a no-fly zone. The African Union was far more reticent, and ultimately it became clear that the African Union was not going to sign on. So we heard a shift in the position of the U.S. administration, where all of a sudden we were no longer hearing that we need Arab and African support. We were just hearing we need Arab support, because that's what they knew they could get. They did not get the African Union on board. And indeed, as you mentioned, since the bombardment began, which of course has gone way beyond a no-fly zone, as according to the UN resolution, the African Union has tried to send a delegation to Libya to begin negotiations between the two sides. The UN refused to give them permission. It's not clear who was in that position of authority to authorize or not authorize, and in this case refused to authorize the African Union delegation from going to Libya. The position of the Arab League has shifted as well. As you mentioned, the head of the Arab League, Amr Moussa, the Egyptian, has said that what the U.S. and the French and the Brits have done has gone way beyond the no-fly zone that the Arab League supported, even though Lebanon, as a member of the Security Council, the only Arab member of the Council, voted in the name of the Arab group, the Arab League itself, saying that they supported the UN resolution, which of course called for military strikes far beyond a no-fly zone. So right now, the U.S., the French, the Brits, along with several other European countries, Belgium, the Netherlands, Italy, are carrying out a military attack on Libya without support from either Arab or African forces.
What's their goal, Phyllis, finally?
This is the big question. There's no question that the political goal is the ouster of Muammar Gaddafi. The UN resolution is very clear that the only use of military force can be for the protection of civilians, not for the ouster of anyone. So there have been separate statements, we want Gaddafi out, Gaddafi has lost legitimacy, etc., statements that seem to indicate that even negotiations might not be acceptable. But the official position of the military is we are there to protect civilians. How that's going to happen if bombing raids continue on Libyan cities is a very big question.
Phyllis Bennis, thank you very much for joining us, directing the New Internationalism Project at the Institute for Policy Studies. Among her books, Calling the Shots, How Washington Dominates Today's United Nations. When we come back, the historic journey of former President Jean-Bertrand Aristide to Haiti. Stay with us. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. On Sunday, Haiti held a delayed presidential runoff election between the pop star Michel Martelly and the former First Lady Merlane Manigat. Final results are expected April 16th. 2 days before the election, on Friday, Haiti saw the historic return of the former Haitian President Jean-Bertrand Aristide after 7 years in exile in South Africa. Democracy Now! Was there every step of the way. We begin with Democracy Now!'s Sharif Abdel-Qadoos on the ground in Haiti when Aristide's plane landed.
It's March 18th, and today is the day President Aristide is returning to Haiti after 7 years in exile. On our way to the airport here, there were banners that said, Bon retour, President Titi. That's welcome back, President Aristide. We're waiting in line here. He's just flown in from South Africa on a plane with our own Amy Goodman, Danny Glover, and his wife and children. We're walking right now to get on a bus, which is going to take us to the landing strip that Aristide's plane is going to land on. It looks like the plane of Jean-Bertrand Aristide has landed in Haiti. It's been 7 years since he's been here. He was taken in what he called a modern-day kidnapping in the service of a coup d'etat backed by the United States in 2004. He is now back again in defiance of the United States. Aristide's plane has landed. The press broke through the barrier and has come waiting at the foot of the plane right now. We're waiting for Jean-Bertrand Aristide to come out of the plane.
Hi, I'm Amy Goodman. We're here in Port-au-Prince. The president has landed. We are here in the plane. James Early of the Smithsonian and Danny Glover are the first to step outside. Thank you. And here comes Danny. How are you feeling today, Danny?
Amazing. It's really quite exciting.
Danny Glover just said he is feeling amazing. Ira Kurzban, your thoughts as we deplane in Haiti?
Well, I promised myself this would happen 7 years ago, and we're very happy about it.
There is a mass crowd here. The Aristides are about to deplane. There's flowers waiting for them. I'll be standing with the Aristides. It's mass chaos. Mildred Aristide and the children. Mildred is crying. President Aristide is coming to the nose of the plane. President Aristide is being jostled as all the cameras are here. President Aristide is coming into the diplomatic area. It is a crush of cameras.
In 1804, the Haitian Revolution marked the end of slavery.
He addresses the crowd.
May the Haitian people mark the end of exile and coup d'etat, while peacefully we must move from social exclusion to social inclusion. Once again, thanks from the bottom of our hearts.
Aristide goes on to speak in Spanish. He addresses the crowd in several languages. When he speaks in English and says, exclusion is the problem, inclusion is the solution, he doesn't directly reference his party, Famille Lavalas, which was excluded from the election. But when addressing Haitians in Creole, he's more explicit.
You are right. If we don't salvage our dignity will be gone. Yes, you are right, because the problem is exclusion, and the solution is inclusion. The exclusion of Famille Lavalas is the exclusion of the majority. The exclusion of the majority means that you are cutting off exactly the branch that we are all sitting on. The problem is exclusion. The solution is inclusion of all Haitians without discrimination, because everybody is a person. Haiti, Haiti, the further I am from you, the less I breathe. Haiti, I love you, and I will love you always, always.
After the speech, President Aristide moves inside the airport to thank the delegation that helped bring him home. Democracy Now! Had the exclusive coverage of the flight. We stopped in Dakar, Senegal, and to see the Aristides' joy as they looked out on their country, on Haiti, was something that is hard to put into words. After 7 years in exile, the Aristides have returned, twice ousted in a U.S.-backed coup. In 1991, ousted for 3 years, then came back as president. Now in 2004, ousted again in a U.S.-backed coup. The U.S. flew him to the Central African Republic, but then a delegation led by Congressmember Maxine Waters and the Trans-Africa founder Randall Robinson. I covered this delegation. We flew to CAR, the Central African Republic. They got the Aristides, and they brought them back to this hemisphere, to Jamaica, but they couldn't come back into Haiti and ended up in exile in South Africa for 7 years. Now the president returns not as president of Haiti, but as resident. James Early of the Smithsonian is one of the people who accompanied President Aristide home on this delegation. In fact, he had just been with him 3 weeks before in South Africa.
I feel extraordinarily happy for a citizen of Haiti who has been placed in exile, and I feel extraordinarily happy for the citizens of Haiti who have expressed their admiration and pride and confidence in him. He really is a social individual. This really is not about him alone. It's about what he represents, and I'm very disappointed that the government of the United States has used such diplomatic currency against this individual. It's just absurd. It has not worked. It discredits us being sincere in the international arena, and it really limits our ability to show our virtues. So I'm happy, and but as a citizen from the United States, I'm a little saddened by the views expressed by our government, which has not contributed, in my view, to an environment of peace and open debate among people. So this is in many ways less about support for former President Aristide as an individual, as it is about a citizen's right in his or her country and the rights of his or her fellow citizens to say we love and admire you and we want you amongst us.
President Obama called South African President Zuma last week, urging him not to fly the Aristides back to Haiti. But the South African government said they would not cave to pressure. A South African government representative accompanied the Aristides on their trip from Johannesburg to Port-au-Prince.
Matsidiso.
And your thoughts as you arrived in
I also feel so overwhelmed seeing the welcome, the reception that Mr. Aristide received. I'm so proud of South Africa having hosted him all these years and brought him back healthy.
Okay. The family is now stepping out. Mildred Aristide, Christine and Michael, they're 12 and 14. We'll go with them. Okay, everyone's jumping on the car as the Aristides leave. We're going to try to get in this car here. Can we get in the car? Where were the delegation? We are now in the van following the Aristides heading home to Tabar, which they haven't seen in 7 years, and 7 years of exile. And there are thousands of people who are running, jogging alongside the vans. They are trying to look in. They are joyous. They are singing. They are chanting. Kim Ives is with us here in the van. Kim is with the newspaper Haiti Liberté. Kim, what are some of the things that they're saying?
Some of them are saying, Lakai c'est Lakai, home sweet home. Bon retour, welcome back, Aristide. Good welcome. Aristide, ou important pour nous. You are important for us. We see all sorts of different signs expressing love. Aristide, we love you. Aristide, we've been waiting for you. Finally, je viens. The days have been going by. It's so many signs of love.
There is a crush of people who have accompanied the Aristides from the airport in Port-au-Prince to their home in Tabar. Tens of thousands of people, T-shirts that say Aristide, signs that say Bon Retour, Good Return, Cité Soleil, we support you, Pétionville, we support you. Now this is the historic home of the Aristides, which they were forced out of in the coup on February 29th, 2004. The crush of people when we got to Tabar was astounding. I mean, from the airport, tens of thousands of people were running and jumping, holding placards and signs. We got into the Aristides' house through a side window, but though friends are inside, there's so many people who have come out to greet the Aristides. It has been going on for hours. Just after we got in, at the front door, there was a huge clamor. And it was the Aristides coming in, but they could barely get in. They were being pulled through. First the children, then Mildred Aristide, then President Aristide himself. The place where the Aristides lived until February 29th, 2004, when the U.S.-backed coup took place. It was guaranteed their house wouldn't be destroyed. In fact, it was sacked. It was ravaged. And the medical school that President Aristide established and took so much pride in, well, it was turned into a U.S. military barracks, and the students were then sent to Cuba to get a medical education. Some of them came here to greet President Aristide today.
My name is Dr. Kobel.
And did you train at the medical school, President Aristide's medical school?
Yes, we start a medical school at Fondation Aristide University at 2001. After 2004, we go at Cuba to finish medical school, and now we are there in Haiti to help Asian people.
2004, what happened to the medical school after the coup?
In 2004, military take the medical school and put military base in the medical school.
Which military? United States?
United States military. After Aristide left, they take the university and to put a military base in the university.
Over in the next room, I spot a close friend of the Aristides who's been deeply involved in their history. Well, Franz Gabriel, we meet again. The first time was in the Central African Republic, where the Aristides were sent in the coup of 2004. And then after the earthquake, we saw you at the airport. Talk about the significance of this day. You were with them. You went with them to the Central African Republic.
I did. That was immediately after the kidnapping.
Who kidnapped?
We were kidnapped right out of this house. It was early in the morning, and they took us in a unmarked aircraft all the way to...
Who took you?
The military. The U.S. military.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
From the U.S. Embassy here. Luis Moreno?
Luis Moreno was the political attaché. And he was the one that penetrated, knocked at the door, and then we opened up. And then he said to the president, he said, President Aristide, 10 years ago I was here to welcome you when you came back from exile. I'm sorry that I'm the one that has to accompany you today. And that's how we left the house, and we ended up at the airport in a big white plane with no registration number and a big American flag. And then, we took off, and then, we ended up in Central Africa after a few stops.
The State Department, the White House, Obama talked to President Zuma of South Africa and said not to bring them back to Haiti, but President Zuma defied that request and said that they would not bow to pressure. The White House, the State Department, has said that President Aristide left willingly on February 29th, 2004.
No. I'm a witness of that, and it was not willingly that the president left, because all the people that came in to accompany the president were all military. Having been in the U.S. military myself, I know what a GI looks like, and I know what a special force looks like also. So I was here, and I knew that these guys were part of a force, special ops, they call them. You have the Delta Force, which is special operations. You have the Green Beret, special operations. So those guys, they could be assimilated to either one, either the Delta or the Green Beret. And what attracted my attention was the fact that when we boarded the aircraft, everybody changed their uniform into civilian clothes. And that's when I knew that it was a special operation.
So the Aristides did not leave willingly?
Oh, absolutely not. Someone who leaves willingly leaves with suitcases, and then prepare for the trips. President Aristide left with the clothes on his back.
President Aristide spent the afternoon upstairs greeting old friends and welcoming new visitors. Democracy Now!'s Sharif Al-Dokadous and I went up to say goodbye. Sharif had just come from Egypt. We asked Aristide about the Egyptian revolution. And when we saw the people today, the thousands, was it tens of thousands of people from the airport to here, do you think we're seeing something like that? Or was that equivalent when you were first elected in 1990 and 91, like Tahrir? Was that the Egypt uprising before the Egypt uprising?
In fact, what I saw today reminded me of what we had in 1990 when we were campaigning and after the elections. That's exactly the same love expressed by the people. And someone earlier said that she saw a tsunami of love today. And I brought this image to express what I saw. Better having love than the opposite. And we will continue swimming in the love of the people, sharing love with the people, loving them. And as they are so bright, if you are faking, pretending that you love them and using beautiful words, they will smell it, they will get it. But if it's sincere, they will also get it. And that's the sincerity of love which we saw today. What is happening in Egypt, or what started in Tunisia, Egypt, and in the Arab world, we saw it here in 1986 when the people realized that they had to stand up and make a difference in changing their lives. And it happened in 1986. And I was very delighted to see it in the Arab world, where democracy prevailed and must prevail for some countries and for all the countries. It's not yet that, but it's a must for all those who are dreaming of a better life.
Were you surprised to see the response today?
No, I wasn't surprised. It was amazing to see the way they continue to express their love, but it wasn't a surprise.
Well, it was something to see you burst through the door from the embrace of I don't know how many thousands of people.
And I understood them because they suffer so much and for so long. Seeing that moment becoming a reality, it wasn't only me getting through the door of the house. It was millions of people getting through someone. That's why it couldn't be easy. And I understood it. Powerful as an experience. Yeah.
So where do you go from here?
I will continue to pay attention, to observe, to learn from them, and serve them by learning from them.
Jean-Bertrand Aristide at his home in Haiti for the first time in 7 years. Special thanks to Hani Massoud, Sharif Abokadous, Nicole Salazar, KK Keene, and Kim Ives. Coming up after break, our world broadcast exclusive with Jean-Bertrand Aristide on the plane en route to Haiti. This is Democracy Now! Back in a minute.
Organisation mondiale yo pa pou nou yo ye. Ça la boye dévolé yo pillé dévoré. Les peuples qui lundi prend fusil yo konnen yo bouquet. La médecine internationale ça met col sous côté. Yo fait réunion, yo parlé, yo rancé. Devant verre champagne, bon divin, qu'importe, c'est la s'arrêter. Les peuples en bas âme, tout pays, tout côté. Moi, remettant des autres cap analyser, l'aile pas concerné. L'aile pas concerné. Tout ça, moun bable tendez, c'est vérité liée.
Mano Charlemagne, here on Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. Jean-Bertrand Aristide and his family were flown by the South African government back to their home in Haiti after 7 years in exile. Earlier last week, just before their journey, President Obama called South African President Zuma to try to prevent the trip. The South African government said they would not bow to pressure. And so the Aristides boarded the flight in Johannesburg that the South African government provided. And on Thursday night, they left for Haiti. In this Democracy Now! Exclusive, I was there on the journey through Dakar, Senegal to refuel, the only reporter on that flight. Today, we bring you the first part of our global broadcast exclusive conversation with the former Haitian president as we flew over the Atlantic, approaching Haiti. President Aristide, it's a historic day for you as we are about to land in Port-au-Prince. You are ending 7 days of exile, 7 years of exile in South Africa. What are your thoughts as we come closer to your country?
I'm sure that the Haitian people are celebrating an historic day for themselves, which includes myself. They always said dignity, dignity, dignity. This day brings dignity to them, to the country. When we remember the traditions of our forefathers when they were brought from Africa to Haiti, which was slavery, so no freedom, and they fought to have freedom. Today, the celebration of dignity is also a reflection of freedom. Freedom in the mind, in the heart, before we have freedom all over the world.
The significance of the bridging of these two countries, Haiti and South Africa. You met with President Nelson Mandela, the former president of South Africa, while you were there?
We met several times, and the first time we met was when he came out of prison before the elections took place in 1994. Great man. We met in the US, and then I went to South Africa for his inauguration. From that day to today, he remains a great man, not only for South Africa, for Africa and African descendants, but for everybody, a man of dignity who fought for freedom.
Democracy Now! Was in Haiti the last year, and I was also there in 1995 when you returned to Haiti after the first coup, and remember hearing the news that you were going to dissolve the military. There's discussion now of restoring the military. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, I can, as I said, from my position as a simple citizen, investing in education, continue to talk about human rights. If you are a police, you respect the rights of the people, and the people respect your rights as well, because you are a human being. With a police force respecting the rights of the Haitian people, once we were moving slowly but surely from misery to dignity, to poverty with dignity. That was a very slow move from misery to poverty with dignity. But if we decide to go back when we had an army of 7,000 soldiers controlling 40% of the national budget, that would mean we are headed back to misery instead of doing something to move from that misery to poverty with dignity. When we remember how many people were killed by the then army, do we want to go back to have the same, moving from the same to worse, when we know that the victims are still suffering? The fathers, mothers, friends were killed, and they still don't have justice. When we teach, when we educate, we focus on human rights, the rights of every single citizen, and we also avoid structures which can violate human rights instead of protecting human rights. The future of Haiti must be linked to the respect of the rights of every single citizen.
You were coming back after 7 years of exile that came out of a coup in 2004. I was on the plane with you when the delegation came to the Central African Republic to return you back to the Western Hemisphere. At the time, you described it as a U.S.-backed coup, that you were kidnapped. Can you talk about what happened then, what led to your being ousted and in exile from your country?
I think the past 7 years gave an opportunity to everyone to see the truth. And it became obvious what happened, and everyone who wants to know can see the truth. Those who refuse to see it, you cannot oblige them to see it. When you make a mistake, it's a mistake. If you decide to continue making the same mistake, then it's worse. A mistake was made. That was that coup. People who want to make it better must understand that illiterate people are not dumb. The Haitian people are not dumb. The majority of us can be illiterate, but they are bright people, they understand. And we have so many people around the world who also understood what happened. They may not have power to change it, but they know. And what we need now is to put hands together. Haitians, true friends of Haitians all over the world, to help Haiti moving from where we are. Because where we are 7 years after the coup is much more worse than what we had before the coup. So time is telling us that it was a mistake. We must recognize it, and we must transcend to put hands together and to change life. That's a must.
You said everyone knew what happened. Tell us what happened.
Maybe one day I will talk about it, but if you don't mind, if you allow me today, I would prefer to concentrate and to focus on the positive. The positive is your presence, the presence of the members of the delegations, like my husband, who started fighting for the Haitian people years ago. Danny Glover and others, those who cannot make it, like Deputy Maxime Waters, like Randall Robinson, and so many others, they want to keep moving forward with the Haitian people. And that positivity can be reflected through their commitment to help Haitians. And Haitians are the first saying, we are not begging for cents. We are just trying to do our best with dignity and welcoming friends who want to accompany us. So today, it's a great day because this is a day of hope where we know we should not let people kill our collective hope. And we know that with dignity, peace, solidarity, we will move from this great day to a better one.
Can you tell us what's going to happen today?
That was former Haitian President Jean-Bertrand Aristide on board the plane for his historic return to Haiti. We were about an hour out of Port-au-Prince, flying over the Atlantic. To see the full documentation of our trip, you can go to the website, democracynow.org. Tomorrow, we will play part 2 of our interview with Jean-Bertrand Aristide. If you'd like to get a copy of the show, you can go to our website at democracynow.org. Special thanks to KK Keene. In breaking news, I want to report the Libyan government has released 4 detained New York Times journalists 6 days after they were captured. And that does it for the show. Democracy Now! Is produced by a remarkable group of people: Mike Burke, Sharif Abdel-Quddus, Aaron Mate, Renee Feltz, Nermeen Sheikh, Steve Martinez, Nicole Salazar, Hani Massoud, Rabi Karen, Dina Guzdar. Mike DeFilippo and Miguel Noguera are our engineers. Special thanks to Becca Staley, Julie Crosby, Nick Gilla, Hugh Grand, Jessel Noor, Jessica Lee, Ryan Devereaux, Manal Khan, Vesta Godars. Our camera crew, John Randolph, Kieran Meadows, Rockam Penny, Kellan Innocent. Also special thanks to Kim Ives, KK Keene, as well as the whole team of reporters in Haiti. That does it for our show. I'm Amy Goodman. Thanks for joining us. Happy birthday, Miriam Barnard.